Hello, everyone. It's Elena with All Things by Faith. Hope everyone is doing well. My heart is heavy, and I'm in heavy energy right now. If someone had told me a few years ago that I would be making the video I'm about to make, I would have told them they were crazy. I was 100% devoted to so many things about the church, and I have just been realizing more and more that it's the Lord and the gospel and the truth that I truly need to be devoted to. And I've been asked to speak about hard things again. So, just going to get right into it. I've been asking the other side for a few days, hey, it's been a few days, haven't done a video. What should I do a video on? What do you want me to speak about? And I just kept getting this feeling in my heart to be patient, that it would come. And started doing some research, started having witnesses through the Spirit about some things. So yesterday and today I was really asking, I'm like, hey, what should I speak about? I feel like I need to do a video. Should I speak about the 750 million GMO mosquitoes that are about to be released in Florida? Or should I speak about how they're planning to drug us through the water supply to make us more compliant in the coming lockdown? Should I talk about how volcanoes are waking up and earthquakes happen in the exact spots wildfires are starting, and heat from the Earth's crust is causing all the fires on the west coast as these earthquakes happen? And I just kept hearing, no, not yet, be patient, it's coming. Kept feeling in my heart to be patient, that it would come. Then today, Julie's simple, truthful, blunt, informative blog post, and then my consequent research on the links and witnesses of the Spirit, many of which I already understood and had already received witnesses. I'm going to go into it, but I did subsequent research on the articles that she linked to her blog post, and I knew what I was supposed to speak on, and that I was supposed to speak on hard, heavy, heartbreaking things again. So they wanted me to start here with something very personal. I'm going to be very blunt about it because it's the truth. So 2 years ago, I had an interview for my Temple Recommend. My Temple Recommend will actually be up the end of this next month in September. And it was 2 years ago. I had my interview. I answered all the questions honestly. And then approximately a month later, I was shown and felt in my heart very strongly, and I kept being shown and kept feeling it, that I was to stop paying tithes to the church. And I've always testified of paying tithes. I understood in my heart that it was always important to pay tithes. And I've given talks in sacrament meeting about paying tithes. And so this was a difficult thing for me, but I felt it in my heart that it was right, and I knew the Spirit was witnessing it to me. I was shown that I could pay tithes in other ways. So I began to give cash to the homeless. I began to be giving more of my time in service in little ways and big ways. Sharing my substance, my household goods and food, even though times were really tough. It was right after my divorce, and I was denied any help by my bishop. And slowly, over time, the guilt and shame energy about not paying my tithes in the traditional way faded. And I began to trust the heart, my heart, energy, and the love and light I was being given by the Spirit. You see, I had to break free of conditioning. I knew I was still paying tithes, but in a way that was more in line with the Lord's idea of tithing. But I still doubted on occasion due to conditioning, even up until recently. What I've just shared and what I'm going to share in a moment is exactly why we need to be in tune for ourselves with the Lord's will and with the Spirit of the Lord in the coming months and years and always. I did what I was shown and felt about tithing, but I still doubted sometimes if it was right due to conditioning. I recently received a second witness of this tithing issue from Julie in my last session with her recently. I hadn't had a private session with her for 2 years, since right before I stopped paying tithe and started receiving those witnesses from the Lord. Why am I explaining all this, you might ask? Well, when they asked me to, it's not something I would just want to put out there. I know a lot of you will judge me harshly, and that's fine, because I know what I did was right, and I would do it again. And after what I'm about to share, I think you'll understand a little bit more. Julie's most recent blog post and the research, she did this blog post today, and the consequent research I've been doing into it this evening, and how sickened inside my spirit I feel with what I found. There will be links below to her blog post and the articles I found that branched off from it. The most interesting ones, the ones that have the most detailed information. So you can study and see for yourselves. Now, I knew the World Health Order. I call it the World Health Order, but it's the World Health Organization. It's one and the same as far as I'm concerned. I knew the World Health Organization was bad and funding abortion and Agenda 21. And I found out the church was giving them money. And it sickened me as well. And it strengthened my resolve to not, pay tithing to the church and to continue paying tithing in the way that I was. But tonight, the things that were confirmed in my heart and mind and the things I was shown and the many corporations I'm about to mention that I already knew because I'd been shown and it had already been confirmed in my heart about the things they were involved in with the global cabal. It's just, the rabbit hole is so much deeper, friends, brothers and sisters. I now understand why the church's 501c3 status is so important. They even have 13 LLCs and corporations that they use to hide money. I'm going to link everything below to where you can look these things up for yourself. But I now understand truly to what levels we have been infiltrated, and why the saints in particular are being asked to be, quote unquote, good global citizens. It is almost too much for my heart to bear. My heart is sick and heavy with this knowledge, but I cannot deny it. The Spirit is borne witness of it, and I'm being asked to share my findings now. Everything I just read I read it was a statement that I put together with help from the other side. Very emotional right now. Like I said, I'm upset and I'm in heavy energy, and I'm going to have to be working on clearing this energy for a few days. So some of you may have seen the link that Julie posted through her email from Julie Rowe Admin. And the title of it is LDS Church Funding Deep State Organizations. So, what I found in my research, I'm not going to read the entire article. I am going to read and explain what they've shown me from the other side. I will read a little bit, like the first paragraph. It says, for the first time, the LDS Church's biggest investment fund has disclosed its Wall Street holdings, revealing $37.8 billion in stocks and mutual funds. $37.8 billion. Let that sink in. It says the federal filing may be the best answer ever to... I'm receiving a little bit of interference as I'm trying to read this. The federal filing may be the best answer ever to how the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has invested the excess tithing paid by its 16 million members. The detailed list included 1,659 stocks and mutual funds, including household names like Amazon, Chevron, and Walmart. The investment fund, called Ensign Peak Advisors, quietly submitted the filing to February 14th to the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. The stock portfolio appears to represent a large portion of the total value of Ensign Peak, which whistleblowing brothers Lars and David Nielsen said in a complaint sent to the IRS controls assets worth at least $100 billion. So why is any of this important? I mean, a lot of you may know that the church is very wealthy and that they have all this money. And again, I'm going to have you, if you want to learn more, you can research by the links below. I'm going to link the best links that I found to all of this that explain things clearly and bluntly. But mainly what I want to go over is the actual stocks and the holdings that the corporations they have. Now, they have 1,657 of them, brothers and sisters. So you can imagine 1,657 corporations that they have stock in, meaning they bought stock in them, they gave them money, they helped fund them, looking for a payoff and investment. And I'm here to tell you that this is going to be shocking, what I'm about to say and what the church holds investments in. I'm not going to obviously read all 1,657 of them, but I did go through the entire list. I am familiar with all of these corporations, as I'm sure you would be familiar with most of them as well. And I do know that many of them that I'm going to mention are the Spirit has borne witness to me that the majority of these corporations are dark. They're involved with the global cabal. They're involved in human trafficking, satanic worship. Yeah. So I'm going to start with the first one on the list, which is Apple Incorporated. The church holds $1,574,498,000, which has probably gone up by the time since this was published. Not going to read the amounts for each one, but they are all in the billions and millions, just so you understand. Billions and hundreds of millions, not just like 1 million, but like hundreds of millions. Okay? We have Apple, we have Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Johnson & Johnson, Intel, Facebook, Visa, JP Morgan Chase and Company, Merck, Walt Disney, Chevron, Home Depot, Thermo Fisher Scientific Incorporated, Abbott Laboratories, MasterCard, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Exxon, First Republic Bank, Halliburton, Walmart. This is hard for me to read. Rather than make this a super long video, AT&T, Verizon, Charter Communications, Delta Airlines, Procter & Gamble, Intuitive Surgical, Vanguard, Vertex Pharmaceuticals. Again, more Google, WebTech, Duke Energy, McDonald's. I could tell you what I know about McDonald's, but that's for another video. But I would just suggest that you all not eat at McDonald's, okay? I can't believe that anyway. I'm just going to keep talking. Cisco, American Electric Power, Cummins Incorporated, Honeywell, AutoZone, Clorox, Gilead Sciences Incorporated. Now, for those of you who don't know, Gilead Sciences Incorporated is one of the main companies that works with Bill Gates. And Gilead is one of the companies doing trials right now for the new vaccine that's going to save us all. I'm going to stop there. If you touch on this link below, it'll take you to this article, and you can look at all the 1,600 different corporations that our tithes have been funding, purchasing, helping. And these corporations are mainly owned by the cabal, the puppet masters. These corporations are the ones that, the majority of them, that are part of the New World Order, the New World Agenda, that have been warring against humanity in the ways of GMOs, pharmaceuticals, big pharma, scientific research, chimeras. Those of you who don't know what a chimera is, it has to do with blending human DNA with animal DNA. I could go on and on about the things that I've seen for years and the things that I've researched. But I am sickened inside by what our tithing has been funding. I have no words. I can't really talk anymore about this right now. I need to really clear energy on it. But this is the type of thing that we can't just follow blindly anymore. We can't say that we're against vaccines and then fund an organization, namely the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, that funds these organizations to make money. Part of one of the articles that was linked, as you look at the articles that I'm going to link, you can touch on the blue lettering of any part of the articles and it will take you to other articles. And it will take you further and further down the rabbit hole. Yeah, it's disconcerting to say the least. It's so much deeper than that for me. My heart is just sickened. I did not know, and I'm sickened with myself for not knowing, for not doing more research. I didn't know where to look for the research, but quite honestly, I didn't believe I had to look for the research. I never would have thought that there would be links between our church and our tithing and any of these corporations. Ever. Not in a million years. Not in a million years. And, some of you may say, well, investing in Google was a good investment for the church, or investing in this or that was a good investment for the church. But when the church has, they make it so you can't go to the temple if you're not a full tithe payer. And that is always just, even though I didn't want to admit it and I didn't want to look at it, it always felt somewhat wrong in my heart. But I was a faithful tithe payer. And to know that there are people in Africa and other countries that literally are starving, but they find a way to pay tithing to the church, and the church has over $100 billion. And do you know how much they donate yearly? They donate about $1 billion a year to different global causes, whether it's disaster or, helping people in third world countries. I'm not saying the church doesn't do good things, because I do acknowledge that there are good people in leadership of the church that fund these good things. But the Gadiantons have obviously infiltrated to a level that I never would have, I just never would have imagined. And I'm going to have to clear energy on feeling guilty because I didn't do further research. And we can't just be blind anymore. We can't just turn a blind eye and just say, well, they're the leaders of the church. We need to just do what they say. Or we need to just trust blindly. The more knowledge we get, the more knowledge we're responsible for to the Lord. And I'll just leave that there. I hope you're all well. You're in my prayers. I'm sorry to take you down this rabbit hole. I know it's not something that any of us really want to know, but it's something we need to know at this time. And again, I just keep hearing from the other side, we can no longer turn a blind eye. We can no longer turn a blind eye. I say these things humbly in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.